and I am a registered nurse. I'm normally an oncology nurse, breast cancer nurse, but I chose this topic about sleep health because I feel it is important to you. This is an area that personally affected me, and I denied it for a long, long time. Because it doesn't seem important. It doesn't seem as important as high blood pressure. It doesn't seem as important as diabetes. It doesn't seem as important as obesity. And it wasn't until I was struggling with obesity that I began to look at other areas of my life. And I'll be honest, sleep health, I remember, I think it was Refrigerator. I don't know his name. He played football for years. Not me, Joe Green. What's his name? William Perry. When he died, they said he died of sleep apnea. And I remember thinking, you can die of sleep apnea, but you can actually die from complications of sleep apnea, and it's just as important. Now, by showing of hands, I want everybody in here who got a good night's rest all week, well, all week so far, every night, raise your hand. Very little. Most Americans do not get enough sleep. Most of us. Now, by the showing of hands, how many of us feel like we know we don't get enough sleep every night? The majority of us. Why? Because we live in a fast-paced society, a world that's constantly turning and turning. It's even different than our mothers and fathers' generation. When the sun went down, they started quieting down. The children, they fed the children, and they started gearing towards bedtime. When the sun goes down for us, it doesn't mean anything. It just means maybe that we have to go home now and start a whole new line of work. Dishes, cleaning up, and so forth. So it's different for us, but we do need to pay attention to it because sleep apnea does affect us. 1/4 of Americans suffer with sleep disorders or sleep apnea. 1/4. 1 out of every 4, 25%. It's 25 to 28% of Americans that suffer with sleeping disorder. You may know someone right now that comes to mind as soon as I said they have trouble sleeping, they came to mind. Well, some of the symptoms we may not recognize. One of the symptoms of sleep apnea or sleeping disorder, which was my problem and the most pertinent problem, was that my husband was always complaining. Amen. He was always complaining about me snoring. Amen. Always complaining. I had no problem sleeping. I would fall asleep so quickly. As soon as my head hits the pillow, I'm out. Yes. That's another sign that you're always, it's quick, it's easy for you to fall asleep quickly. Almost when you're in the drive, my stepfather, when he's in the passenger seat, he's nodding off and he's snoring and he's bucking. That's a sign that there's a problem. If everybody's complaining about hearing you, that's a problem. It's also a problem if you are snoring so loudly that you wake up yourself. Yes. And you look to see if anybody's paying attention. That means you have a problem. It's not just that you haven't slept enough that night, but if this is a continuous problem, you may have a later problem. The problem with sleep health is this. It's not emergent. It doesn't make your head hurt real bad. You don't bleed from it. You don't have to go to the emergency room right away. It's called a chronic disease. But what we do know is that diabetes, high blood pressure, obesity, and depression all can be caused by sleep apnea or a lack of sleep. Some of the symptoms, I said, we're falling asleep easily, dragging through the day, forgetful, always losing our keys, always just forgetful. Also, too, and I'm going to bring this up a little bit later, children who have trouble focusing in school. Studies have shown that some of this can be linked to a lack of sleep in children. I have one child, every time she gets in trouble in school, I know now to evaluate, did she get up in the middle of the night and turn on her television? Because every time she's lacking in sleep, she gets in trouble throughout the day. She becomes hyper. So know your body, know what you need. If nap during the day, and I was the main one that probably needed to take a nap during the middle of the day. It's okay to take a nap. It's okay. They call it siesta in some countries. Get a refreshing nap if you need to. Get what you need to feel refreshed and rejuvenated, but make sure you get adequate sleep. Some of the risk factors that make you more prone to having sleep apnea or sleep disorder. African American children have a 2 times greater risk of suffering from sleep apnea or from not getting totally restful sleep. We don't know why. It could be that so much is going on throughout the house, mainly inner city. That was my first thought, is having to live in the inner city, or just louder voices. Some of us come from families, they're just loud, and they don't consider that the children, the babies, or whatever, need a full night's sleep and just shut it down for the night. Older adults also are more prone, 2 to 3 times more at risk of having a stroke if they have sleep apnea. Now let me define for you what sleep apnea is. Sleep apnea is when these muscles in this throat and this chin fat gets heavy and you're asleep and it sinks down and it presses on that airway. So if you have that double chin or it runs in your family, you're more prone to have this disorder. My family has it. Almost all of them snore loudly. Even the skinny ones, they snore loudly. Because we just have that extra fat right there that sits on that airway. And when it sits on that airway at nighttime, it presses it down. Think of a straw, pinching a straw. Nothing can go in, nothing can come out. Bad air, carbon dioxide doesn't come out. Good air, oxygen can't go in. That way your brain is lacking oxygen and your heart is lacking oxygen. If you're having sharp pains or chest pains when you wake up in the morning, you may want to think about, how was I sleeping? Did I snore real hard? Do I have sleep apnea? Another thing is obesity, losing weight. And those of you, I know most of you don't struggle with obesity, but for those of us that struggle with obesity, it's a problem, and it's a revolving problem, because you don't get enough sleep and good sleep because of the fat, because of the obesity, but also too, the sleep apnea causes you to not feel like exercise and not feel like doing anything as well. So it's a 50-50 scale. What you have to do is be very proactive and do what you need to do. Somewhere you need to start and get the help that you need. And that leads me to my next segue, and I'm almost done. The reason why we need to take care of this, because we want to live a long life. Anybody in here want to live long? We don't want to live long. But not only do we want to live long, but we want to live an energized life. We want to be able to exercise and not walk around the block and then have to come back and sleep because we're so tired and worn out. We want to live a healthier life. What do you do next? Let me show you this. This is a great example for me. This is my can of gravy. This is why you should do something as soon as you know that there's a problem. And now you know these are the symptoms. And it may be a family member. But in my house, if I see a bug, what's the first thing I do? I pull this out. Where's the spray? Where's the spray? Or I tell somebody, get it, get it. And we're after that one bug or that one spider or whatever it is. So when you see the symptoms, you feel like, oh, I just need more sleep. Yeah, take care of that. Try to get more sleep. Spray the one bug. But this doesn't take care of the whole house. This doesn't take care of a termite situation that may be in my walls. This doesn't take care of those things that may be crawling in through a crevice. I have to call a bigger company for that. And you want to take care of the bigger situation, the underlying situation that may be contributing to your heart suffering some issues later on in life. I feel like as a country we're fighting obesity, we're fighting heart disease, we're fighting strokes, but we're not looking at the underlying factor, which is sleep health. The first thing you'll do, talk to your doctor. How many of you talk to your doctor? I mean, really talk to your doctor. Or you let your doctor talk to you. Go, tell him. If you have sleeping disturbance, tell him. And if he offers you pills, say, no, I want to be evaluated and make sure I don't have sleep apnea. Because I've thought about it, it's more than one day. I have this all week long. I'm tired all the time. Can you just check me out fully? The other thing is, after that, he'll send you to a pulmonologist. That's a lung doctor, that's all. And he'll send you to a lung doctor. The lung doctor will listen to your breathing. And then, with the lung doctor, he'll set you up for a polysomnography. And all that is a sleep study test. You get to go sleep in a hotel called the hospital. And you'll just sleep overnight. They put all kind of gooey, sticky stuff on you. And if you have a bunch of kids, you get a full night's rest. If not, you'll just have a bunch of sticky stuff on you. They'll evaluate your sleep, see how you sleep. If they find disturbance in your sleep, they'll set you up for another time that you come back and sleep with the apparatus, either a CPAP machine or some device, to see what suits you best. And then they will most likely order something like this for you. So CPAP machine. And I'll be honest, when I first got my CPAP machine, by the way, since I've been using a CPAP machine, and I'm not a salesperson for CPAPs, but since I've been using it, it took a while to get over my family teasing me. I can't tell you all the names that they tease me about because of this. And at first I was hesitant because I didn't want to be teased. I felt different or odd or awkward, and it was a different way of sleeping for me. But I thought about my health, and I thought about my family, and I thought, yes, it's worth it. I better do this. And plus, I noticed a big difference. I used to wake up in the morning and I'd go to the restroom, and I'd come back, and I'd want to go back to sleep. When I use this, I feel good waking up in the morning, and I can get up and go. That's the difference it's made for me. But this simple apparatus, it's a pressurized device that pushes air through so you can get air out and in, and it keeps that airway open. That's it. I'm not going to keep you any longer. I have room for questions if you like, but I wanted to get that point across to you. I think we're fighting like bug by bug, but I think in order to take care of high blood pressure, heart disease, diabetes, obesity, we got to look at the underlying factors. Am I eating well? Am I exercising well? Am I breathing right? And one of the main things that we blow off, am I sleeping right? Am I getting enough sleep at night? Am I turning off the TV? Am I turning off the electronic devices? Am I doing all that I can do for good sleep health? Thank you so much. I'll take any questions, comments. Anybody? No? Everybody gonna get good sleep health tonight? Yes. Okay. You have something? No? Okay. Everybody ready? Yes, ma'am.
Does restless leg contribute to sleep apnea?
It contributes to disruptive sleep, and it's considered one of those things that helps us, that contributes to not getting good enough sleep at nighttime. What I would do is try and figure out what's causing the restless leg syndrome. But definitely the snoring and not breathing and breathing hard, yeah, or your partner. It could be your spouse that's snoring. Set them up for a doctor's appointment and get them checked out. Thank you.